What's up? Welcome in to Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, the podcast, and on YouTube as well, youtube.com. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. I am Jay Hood. Thanks you so much for being with me. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe everything we do here on the podcast or on YouTube for sure. So good to be back after having some time off. Peacock and I spent some time in Manhattan Beach around the Los Angeles area for a vacation. We had a fun time. Went to the Dodgers game, Dodgers Arizona Diamondbacks. It was the first time I've ever been to Dodger Stadium. You would think after all these years of travel, all the places I've been to for work or for pleasure that I've been to Dodger Stadium, I had not. I want to see it firsthand. They played the Arizona Diamondbacks. We get out of the car, we get our ticket scanned, and the guy says, "Here, I'll take this with you." And it is see that Will Smith bobblehead. Like all the stars, like not Otani, not Betts, not Clayton Kershaw, not even Joe Davis, the broadcaster. We got Will Smith. And I think that my wife was confused. She's like, and the guy says, "Hey, listen, this is not Will Smith. This is the white one." It's just like, I guess she thought she was going to get a Will Smith slapping the crap out of Chris Rock bobblehead. That was not the case. It's Will Smith. It is the World Series champion for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I got that. I wonder how much this is on eBay. I'll check that out after the broadcast. But nonetheless, so great to be back. And there's so much to talk about. A couple of things I just want to talk about just to start the week. I want to talk a little bit about what is going on with Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Obviously, we're all looking forward to the season. We saw the schedule come out. I think they were all excited about exactly what we're going to see from the Chicago Bears this upcoming season. But I know that the Seth Wickersham book came out talking about quarterbacks, and there was a lot in there about Caleb Williams, the quarterback for this football team, and just how maybe his dad wasn't sure if he should be with the Chicago Bears or not. It is a story. It is quite a story. The reason why it is a story is because it tells a great story about Caleb Williams, was where he was after college and whether or not he really wanted to be with the Bears or the Vikings or someplace else. Obviously, he's a Bear and he wants to be able to succeed here, but I just thought that the story was interesting. Yes, I know that he wants to be here, and I know his dad was trying to challenge some of the things that other quarterback dads have done before, like Arch Manning and Boomer Esiason did the same thing. And there's a number of other quarterbacks that said, "There's no way I'm going to play for you. I'm going to play someplace else." Well, I think that same thing was on the table for for Caleb Williams' dad. And I guess the bottom line is that Caleb is here now, and I want him to succeed. I want him to do well because we've been here before, right? The hotshot quarterback or the veteran quarterback is supposed to change fortunes for the Chicago Bears, and we're supposed to win a billion Super Bowls because of this quarterback. I just want this to work this time because you and I have been here before about how the Chicago Bears have cornered the market on the quarterback position, and either the team wasn't ready, the quarterback wasn't ready, whatever it is, the team was not equipped to be able to win. Now, Caleb Williams has a ton of weapons to work with. Now, how does it all gel together? I think that's the big question about that. But Ben Johnson, the head coach for the Chicago Bears, he's got quite the undertaking because this is not Jared Goff. What this is a young quarterback that had a hard time getting out of his own way under Matt Eberflus. Sacked a ton of times, some on him, some on the offensive line, some on the lack of weapons, but there are no excuses. Like moving forward, Caleb Williams has to be able to develop. And again, fingers crossed that will be able to be the case, that he can be able to get it done, but it won't be because of lack of weapons or lack of offensive line. It's going to be Caleb Williams having to learn quickly how to be able to lead, number one, but number two, be able to not to hold the ball so long and also really trust the players that are in front of him. Lack of trust last year. That's why he ran the football so much. He was trying to run for his own first down, got fed up. So hopefully there will be trust there with the head coach, with the quarterback, and the weapons that he uses. So looking forward to that. I want to move forward here and talk about the end of an era for sports, and that is inside the NBA with Ernie Johnson and Kenny Jet Smith and Charles Barkley, and Shaq came later on. He was the last crew member for Inside the NBA. It ended at the field house in Indianapolis, Indiana, where Inside the NBA will no longer be on TNT, but it'll be on ESPN. And so I just wanted to say that I remember back in 1989, I was a junior in high school. And I remember that Turner was taking over the NBA action. I'm like, this is going to be on TNT. What's this going to be like? It was strange at the time because there you were able to see like Chip Carey do play by play for basketball. I remember just like, Dick Stockton. I remember the late Chuck Daly doing color, Doug Collins, a young Kevin Harlan, younger Kevin Harlan. And it was just cool. It was a different vibe than what we were used to watching the NBA on NBC or when it was on CBS when I was growing up or any other channel. Being on Turner Network Television was really interesting, and a big part of that was because of Inside the NBA. I remember a time where it was just Kenny Jet Smith and Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson. And I just thought those three friends had a really fun time being able to provide commentary, pre, halftime, and post. And it was light. It was different than anything else I've seen as far as the NBA coverage. And there's been so many networks and so many sports that try to replicate what they were able to do, and no one could touch them. That's why they are award winning. I was not a big fan of Shaq being part of that because I just thought it broke up the chemistry of three friends because I thought Shaq was overly sensitive. I know he's always looking for the viral moment. I think that that's a good addition to the team to try always find that viral moment. But I always thought for three guys that were fun, I thought that Shaq was always sensitive about his free throw shooting or taking shots at Charles Barkley because he won the championship. I mean, it's a brotherhood, but I always thought that Shaq made it uncomfortable over the years, more times than not for me. And so it's not going away. It's just going to be on ESPN now. But I just remember watching TNT and watching basketball and just falling in love with that in high school. 89 is when it started. That's why I had such a shitty uh, 1989 as far as schoolwork is concerned. I think I did night classes that spring for pro wrestling, for sports, and for NBA and TNT. I blame them. I don't blame myself. I blame all that for the reason why that I did not succeed from a book learning standpoint in 1989. Anyway, so I just want to just give them their flowers because those guys have done a great job. I just remember staying up late at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, just watching those guys because more times than not, they were more entertaining than the game or just as entertaining as the game. So hats off to Ernie Johnson, who's just been just steady as a host for that. And then Charles Barkley saying crazy things. Kenny Jet Smith. I remember when it was just Kenny Smith and Ernie Johnson. I remember that where Kenny was just broke into the business. And Shaq. So great job by Inside the NBA. I look forward to seeing what that looks like on ESPN. By the way, I should mention that our podcast is proudly brought to you by Manscaped. Oh, yes, Manscaped. Have I told you about Manscaped? So you asked a question about Manscaped. What is this? Manscaped, who is the best in below the waist grooming and hygiene. Ladies, listen up. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for you and your man's jewels. You know what I mean by your man's jewels, right? For any woman out there who have come across a hairy bush, now you're in luck. Manscaped is the best in men's below the waist grooming, and they have just launched their fourth generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. Yes, the 4.0. Make sure that your man joins the other 4 million men like me worldwide who already trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. It's crazy. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code HOOD, my last name, HOD. You're listening and watching Under the Hood, so it's my last name, Hood. Go to manscaped.com, just insert the code HOOD, and you get 20% off. If you're looking to purchase the perfect gift for him, that will make him use it to say goodbye, Harry, and hello, clean. That's why you go to manscaped.com and use the promo code HOOD. Think about this. Waterproof trimmers, reduce the foot odor. Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer helps reduce nicks. You hate the nicks. Basketball or the nicks around your junk. Anyway, reduces the risk of ingrown hairs, reduces the risk of grooming accidents. That's why you go to Manscaped. Again, manscaped.com. That's where you go and make sure that you get that 20% off. It's a great gift for Father's Day or just because. Manscaped.com, promo code HOOD. They've been a long time sponsor for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, so they treat me well. I want you to treat them well as well. Manscaped.com, promo code HOOD. I want to talk to you about who I think is the most exciting player in Chicago sports, and that is Pete Crow Armstrong of the Chicago Cubs. And you say, "Oh, Hood, it can't be. It's got to be Caleb Williams, right?" All I know is that Caleb Williams will be in his second year with the Chicago Bears, and we'll see what that looks like. So, but all I can talk about is what I see right now in the spring. You're getting ready for the summer, and that's Pete Crow Armstrong. People are calling him PCA before he even hit the big leagues. I'm like, don't give him a nickname yet. Let's see what he can do. So I knew that Pete Crow Armstrong was fast, and I think that that's great for baseball to have someone who is fast, someone that hits the bases when he gets a single, he steals second base, steals third base, gets in. That's the kind of baseball that I enjoy. It's a great kind of baseball I grew up playing and watching guys being able to turn a single into a triple and then get them over, get them in. Pete Crow Armstrong is a special player right now, and it's so fortunate for him and his agent that he didn't take the money that Jed Hoyer offered. This guy's going to be making a lot of money on his contract because now you're seeing a guy that only can run, play great defense because he can go get him fat and get him fast in the outfield, but also can hit the baseball a ton. Could he be a 40-40 guy? I lean more like 30 home runs and like 40 stolen bases, but it's on the table if he keeps going this way. I think he's got 16. I don't have it in front of me, but I think 16 home runs so far this season or something like that. I don't know about 40-40, but I could definitely see a guy that could be able to hit 30 bombs this year and steal 40 plus bases. And that's good for the Cubs. This Cubs vibe is very interesting because the Cubs, I was talking about this with my partner David Kaplan on the Cap and J Hood Morning Show. I said, with runners in scoring position, minimum 500 games played since 1974, Mark Grace hit 315. Nico Horner's now hitting 312 with runners in scoring position. Aramis Ramirez 311 and Derek Lee 308. What do you think about that? Like here's a guy, Nico Horner in particular, hitting seventh in the lineup, but paying dividends for the Cubs offensively. That's pretty good stuff, man. And so I won't say that the Cubs are going to have a deep run in the playoffs. I'm not going to say that. But I will say that the season is charmed right now for the Cubs. And the reason why is because, you're without your two big pitchers in Steele and Imanaga right now. You are trying to develop your closer in Palencia. From there, you got a bullpen that's as strong as any in Major League Baseball since the middle of April. The question mark was who's going to be able to close, who's going to be your 7th, 8th, and 9th guy. And they've had some of the best bullpen work since mid-April. That's outstanding. 15-5 their last 20 games. Is they get ready to take on the Washington Nationals on Tuesday on the 3rd of June. So I just say this. If you're a Cubs fan, get on the bandwagon now. Don't wait until the last minute. Take a look at what's happening now. Jed Hoyer knows his ass is on the line. If this Cubs team doesn't make the playoffs, or if they go through a slump and they fall short of their goals, that Jed could be fired. Jed Hoyer and the Cubs have been bereft of playoff appearances for quite some time. And so this is an opportunity to get on track. It's not about what the Dodgers are or the Padres are or the Atlanta Braves or Philadelphia Phillies or anyone else. It's about the Cubs doing their business. And I'll give Jed credit. He's been able to make some moves and cut some guys. And the reason why is because he wants to make sure that players like Pete Crow Armstrong and others and Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki and Ian Happ and others are able to have a really great season. And you have to have support to do that. It just can't be in the backs of those guys because those guys will go through slumps. Who can pick up the slack? One of those guys can be Pete Crow Armstrong, but also starting pitching can really help the cause as well. So hats off to the Cubs. They're doing a great job so far. They're leading us through the spring into the summer of actually something positive in Chicago sports. We bitch so much about our teams. It's not even funny. And rightfully so, because we're holding them accountable. The Bears, the Blackhawks, the Sky, the Illini. We just want the teams, the Bulls, we want them to be able to play at a high level, a playoff level, so we can celebrate these teams instead of just knocking them down all the time. We do that because they need to be able to step up. and they got to spend money, and they got to be able to have a roster filled with difference makers to increase your chances to be able to get to the mountaintop. Cubs have done that by just doing the little things: stolen bases, taking the extra base, strong defense. I like what they've been able to do so far. They're going to add on, and when they add on, they're going to be a juggernaut. I think that's very likely for this team. World Series, don't know about that, but I will say that they are living a charmed season so far. That is for sure. They are tied for the best record in the National League. I think that's all good for this Chicago Cubs team. And as far as the White Sox are concerned, for those of you that don't know, I'm a South Sider and a White Sox fan through and through for many, many years. It's just like it's not Rockies bad, because the Colorado Rockies are the worst in Major League Baseball, but boy, the White Sox, boy, I tell you what. They are on a pace to go 49 and 113 and score 552 runs. Did I say that too fast? They're on a pace to go 49 and 113 and score 552 runs. Luis Robert is seventh in the lineup now. He is dropping like a rock. You can't get anything for him right now if they want to trade him. It's pretty bad. It really is. So for my Southside brethren and sisterin that love the White Sox, this is not going to get turned until into the 2030s. I'm not even kidding. I know I love to joke around and have fun with you, but no, that's truthful. It's bad. It's bad, from the ownership to just the way that there's no penchant or no reason for the Sox to spend money now. According to Chris Getz, they don't know when they're going to be able to open up the pocketbook and actually add to this team. It's just so bad baseball. And so that's where they are. See the juxtaposition between the Cubs talk and the White Sox talk? At least there's optimism with the Cubs team. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Don't forget, we're brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped.com. You see it right there. Manscaped.com. Right there. 20% off. Use the promo code HOOD. My last name, HOOD. Finally, I want to talk to you about the NBA Finals. Yes, the NBA Finals. We're getting the Pacers and the Thunder in the 2025 NBA Finals. I just want to point out to you that when someone says, it's Indianapolis and Oklahoma City, two bad markets, that's so passe. What it comes down to is the basketball talent on the floor. I know that there's some in the NBA offices in New York, the old timers, the old heads that want to see the Lakers in there. That way people can hate on LeBron and Luka. They want to see New York in there because New York hasn't won a championship since 1973, and they deserve to be in the finals. I'm sure some people feel that way. They look at Chicago and say, we'd love to have Chicago in the finals like it was when Michael Jordan was there. Markets like Philadelphia has been bereft of a championship for so long. Dallas Mavericks, certain markets like that. The market size does not matter. It doesn't matter. It comes down to the quality of basketball. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think, will have enough to beat the Indiana Pacers in 6 games. I think it's going to go 6 because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a special player, SGA, for Oklahoma City. Such a special player. Guy always gets to the rim. The guy is so smooth on the floor. Chet Holmgren is a dude that's good on that team. Lou Dort is strong defensively. Mark Dagnall has a really, really good team with Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, watching them on the package, I really had a fun time watching them. I'm like, wow, well, can anybody beat this team? Well, now we've got the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on Indiana Pacers with Tyrese Halliburton. And I think that there's been games in which Tyrese Halliburton has not played well, but yet the Pacers find a way because they're so strong defensively. They'll guard your ass, and they've got Nembhard, and they've got a number of players that can be able to knock down shots, 1, but 2, can be able to really guard around the rim. Here's why the Knicks did not win. The Knicks have to be able to keep the score and the opposition within 110 points, 100 to 105, and that defense could not do that, especially with Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson on the floor. They could not play together, and the Pacers were able to move the ball from side to side and knock down shots and had strength in the lane to be able to block shots or rearrange shots and make it difficult for the Knicks to get to the basket. And so when people say, it's Indiana, it's Oklahoma City, it's going to be a good series. It's going to be good. I think I love the dichotomy between the two teams because I think Oklahoma City, they have 7 or 8 guys that can hurt you. And I think Indiana has 4 or 5 that can hurt you. But ultimately, it comes down to star play. It comes down to SGA and Tyrese Halliburton. I think that SGA will have enough, and I think the title will go to Oklahoma City. I don't think there's any question about it. It's amazing how they were a doormat. Sam Presti comes in as a general manager, and they've got 5,000 draft picks. They're able to rearrange the Titanic in Oklahoma City, move the furniture around, and all of a sudden they're in the finals. It is amazing to me. And Bulls fans, yeah, you know what it takes? It takes to be able to be smart in the front office. Don't wait forever, to figure out what you want to do with the team. Should we keep Zach? Could we keep DeRozan? Could we just that? I mean, you let grass grow under your feet while other teams like Indiana and Oklahoma City are right there. So, and the other thing about the Knicks fan, let me just say this real quickly before I close about the Knicks. So I have Knicks fan friends, and they're embarrassing, just like the fans in New York are embarrassing. Take it to the streets after winning a game in the playoffs. And it's just funny to me because, in Chicago, when we celebrate? When we see a trophy. Stanley Cup trophy for the Chicago Blackhawks, 3 championships there under Joe Quenneville, 6 championships under Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, the Chicago Bulls. That's when we celebrate. We might celebrate at the bar, but taking the streets over and climbing poles and, getting in people's faces, bing bong, we're the best, bing bong. What? They haven't won anything since 1973, and they're so thirsty and so pathetic. They're cheering on and just taking the streets after winning a game or a series in the playoffs. Ain't happening for the Knicks with Jalen Brunson. It's not happening for the Knicks with Karl-Anthony Towns. Unless they bring Giannis in, unless Giannis is coming to New York or some other star, as is, 5 or 6 guys can't get it done in the NBA, in the NBA season, regular season or the postseason, especially when you're a sieve defensively with a defensive coach. Tom Thibodeau is a bridesmaid. He'll never win an NBA championship. Mark it down. Good coach, good enough coach, but he just got steamrolled. He got dog walked by Rick Carlisle on the other side of the bench, on the other side as the Indiana Pacers coach. He got dog walked. The way that you saw Carlisle bring players in and out, and Thibodeau with his looking like Homer Simpson with the few strands of hair, got his arms folded and just yelling at the 5 players he puts on the floor with max minutes. You had guys that could knock down shots. You just wouldn't play them. And this is Tom Thibodeau. Bridesmaid, never a bride. Manscaped. I remember Manscaped? Manscaped.com. Hey, it's right there for you. They got a 4.0. They got a 5.0. Manscaped.com. It'll be a great gift for someone close to you. And just use the promo code HOOD and get 20% off. Love being here. Let me just tell you, love being able to come and do this podcast with you. Hope that you can like, share, and subscribe it. Give me your comments about some of the things I talked about. I really appreciate that. The other thing is that, boy, in the fall and in the winter and the spring, I get really busy because I work with the UIC Flames. Love working with UIC and doing the games. I'm a broadcaster for their basketball team and travel with the team. So sometimes my time is limited from doing the morning show and then getting on a plane and then doing UIC basketball, which I enjoy doing play-by-play for them for, I think it's going to be my 13th year. I think it's 13 years doing UIC basketball on the radio with Kenny Williams, the UIC Hall of Famer. And then the basketball season goes right into the baseball season. Baseball season in college starts in late February. And so it's kind of like it's an ongoing thing from October through about June. So I hope that I could be able to come to you and we could talk about Chicago sports and everything else in between on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. But boy, it gets busy. And so I'm glad I could just pause the schedule so you and I could be able to interact about certain things around Chicago sports and everything else. So thanks so much for checking out the podcast. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and comment on your thoughts on this show on YouTube and, of course, on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, the podcast. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much. Let's do this later on this week as we get ready for the sports weekend. So long, everybody, from the south side of Chicago.